Jerry. Listen, I get it. When people come at you relentlessly over and over and over again after you've worked hard and diligently on a vision that you have for something, it is out into the world, and you'll be damned if someone will come and try to tear it down and scrutinize it and criticize it. I get it. But he's also not like just like you and me, like just an everyday person just on the internet, in which when we fire back, a big deal is not made about it. Versus if he's firing back on somebody, I'm just... Clearly, other individuals are going to cover it, whether it's publications or just fashion pages, and then it makes the rounds, and perception is not the best right now in terms of his clapbacks. So trust me, this is not to defend him in any way. One, why would I be defending that man? Okay, that is a grown man that can take care of himself, that can stand up for himself. One, I'm not about to get up here and like grandstand or defend a man. Listen, that's a married man. He can have his wife go defend him if she would so choose to. I am very fine stating some things objectively about current drop for drop 1 with Adidas, and then looking back at Nike, because I think there is a little bit of an unfair disconnect and people thinking that, oh, well, these are just so different from prices that we've ever seen. Well, they're not. And I'm going to go ahead and throw some items up here on the screen from his Nike collaborations versus the pricing for the current Adidas for Fear of God athletics pieces, because they are very much so on par with each other. I mean, you may even find the Nike versions were a little bit higher maybe, and it's gonna differ. Some will be lower, some will be higher. Nonetheless, he's still stuck with it being Fear of God pricing right in the middle between mainline and then essentials, and he's done the exact same thing with Adidas. I've already discussed that I think a lot of his consumers expected essentials, and some people are saying, well, that's ridiculous for them to have done that. We can say that, certainly, and that's because I think maybe we're a little bit more tuned in with where the mainline prices are, but let's take a look at the growth in consumers that you've had, Jerry. It's been during this post-pandemic era, and a lot of that is people buying essentials, right? It was post 2015, 2016, and all of that. And so you had people that were going, and when Essence had their exclusives and Mr. Porter had their exclusives, like that's when people were really tapped in to buy these things. And what were the price points they were expecting? The $90, the $95, $45 t-shirts. So I don't blame the consumers for thinking, oh, maybe these prices will be a little bit more in line with essentials. They weren't. More along the lines of Prada and Gucci, and it's going to have a target consumer. It just won't be everybody with the clothing. It's not me either, okay? There's a whole video on that. So I just want it to be objectively fair there. The Nike prices are very much so in trend with the Adidas athletics prices. And as a consumer, you buy what you're comfortable with buying for the value in relation to your income, how you choose to use it, how it works in your style. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. For the footwear, maybe that is more in line with the value proposition that you're comfortable with. And I have the 86 low. I just didn't have the opportunity to get up the styling like there's clothes just thrown all over, but I just didn't have a chance to get that up before taking my time getting ready for travel. So I'll have that up when I return. You can certainly take a look at how I choose to style. Where is it? Oh, it's behind me here. The Reverse Grinch with the new Richie Lee collection that drops this Saturday. Depending on when you see this video, it could be already dropped or on the way. Who knows? But for the clapbacks, would I have approached the things said about me in the way in which Jerry has? I can only speak for myself and say, if I'm in Jerry's position, no. But that's also pretty in line with how I am now. I may make a video and choose to pinpoint specific things to go back on, but to understand that, again, I'm still just an everyday small person. I'm not going to garner all of this attention. He is, and I think he has to understand the perception that consumers will now have with some of I'm just saying, I would gather some of these comments and clapbacks are coming off as pretentious, holier than thou, out of touch, maybe elitist, which is not what you want in the slightest. And so I'll throw up a post that Jerry Lorenzo Collection had on here. And these are just some clapbacks by Jerry because he said that he has time. I partly feel like for some of the things that he's answered back with, that we are in a group chat for a brand breakup and a new brand relationship that I don't know that I want to be in as a consumer. And just comment below if you stand with me here, or maybe you're totally against it. Maybe you want to know all of the drama and the angst and what is going on between brands and designers, but I don't know that I do. You're like, think about relationships you've been in, right? At no point have you disclosed every little thing that has gone on. At least I hope you haven't on social, because it's a great way to end that relationship, okay? Privacy and discernment they're very good things. So we're finding out things in relation to Nike that didn't go well, and then things for Adidas. So another thing that I think also, the veil has been pulled back. I think this is a reminder, the veil doesn't always need to be pulled back. When we get notice and we get word of a collection coming out, it's been 2 years in the works. Like, once we get notice that a collection will drop, they've gone through the production, the ups and downs, the setbacks, the production errors, the trial and error. They've gone through all of that. But we're now finding out about everything that went down, and that all of these trials and these errors were then factored into the final MSRP. Those are maybe things that consumers don't need to know. That's just personally, I just think those are things that maybe consumers don't need to know. I respect the transparency, but in being transparent, there's going to be some blowback because of that. And so I think he absolutely has to understand that. He said retail price is based on time, resources, materials, construction, the level of love that's poured into the product. And unfortunately, it took way too many rounds to land, as both Fear of God and Adidas had to pay the additional cost of learning how to work together. Also, I don't know if Adidas wanted all that out there. Like, I just don't know. I'm sure there's somebody at Adidas PR that like cringed when they saw that. He's like, you probably don't want that out there. Again, all relationships, I don't care if they're business, I don't care if they're platonic, I don't care if they're romantic, there are ups and downs. All of the ups and downs don't need to be disclosed to the public. They do not. Another things he said, you know, I'll continue to do everything, you know, in truth and in love. And I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that. I think the one thing that his very long, extensive clapback that he had before we get out of here, that was the one where I really said, "Ooh, I know this is gonna touch some people. This is gonna rub some people the wrong way." Okay, he stated, "But you won't find a single designer that pushes and goes as hard as me." There are a lot of star athletes that can say that, but if I go to Steph Curry's camp, they're going to say he pushes the hardest and nobody works harder than him. If I go to LeBron's camp, they're going to say the same thing, and I'm not going to say either one is wrong. They're both at the very top of their craft. So that, again, that could not only rub consumers the wrong way, that could rub peers the wrong way, because everybody is out here working their hardest with passion and love and sweat and tears and long nights and tiring days and time away from your family to do the best that you can possibly do. It's not that consumers are doubting that, but everybody isn't going to perceive this love child of work that you put out as how you do. And I just think you have to keep in mind there can be hatred, certainly, and attacks, and there can be scrutiny. As long as the scrutiny isn't towards you as a person, as an individual, and it's at your work and it stops respectfully there, then okay, I just think that's part of the game of fashion. If it then moves to you as a person, I get that it's a problem. But so I do like the fact that he brought up, right, the Air Fear of God 1 that came out at $350 retail. No one complained. I fought to bring the Addy 1 model to $250, and y'all still got issues. Everybody's still going to have issues. Like, that's just what I think Jerry has to accept. People are still going to have issues. You're never going to make everyone happy. People will rock with some of your designs. They will not rock with some of them. They'll see the value. They won't. You just have to know in the position you're in, you got to just push forward. You can't have the energy for everything like this when you are in the position that you're in. A smaller individual, you can probably have a little bit more time. Where you are, it's just not going to come off well. Like, it's just not going to come off well. You know, and then he spoke on the decision-making executive that is no longer with Nike, and that's why, you know, that relationship fell apart. Again, I do feel like I'm just in a group chat of a couple breaking up, and I'm like, I don't know retrospectively if I need to know all the stuff that happened. Some of you are probably finding it all very juicy and love it, and I'm sitting here like, oh, are we getting taken out of the group chat? We're not. I don't know. Well, we may, because he said that he doesn't have any more time today. He said his job is to create and serve with love to the best of his God-given abilities. And that's what he's going to do, which I love. It's what he should do. And the whole, if you're starving and too proud to eat from a chef without a Michelin star, good night. Yeah, that's not going to be perceived that great either by Jerry. So again, there are designs that have come out, not the biggest fan of. Clapbacks that have come out, not the biggest fan of. And that man doesn't have to worry about what I like and what I don't like. He doesn't. Just sharing my thoughts, because I know those are the things that I've seen spoken about. A lot of commentary, the rhetoric of different takes, and yeah, it's not all perceived as good. Don't know if that's how I would approach it, but it's always going to be to each their own. So please share your thoughts below. We've already discussed drop 1. I've given you my thoughts on the 86 low. And now on some of the clapbacks by Jerry. So hopefully we are taken out of this chat, this group chat of information coming out, and we can just choose to enjoy the new items, or we cannot, and all go about our day. All right. I really appreciate you tuning in to any and all content. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.